Well, Dave, Bogey, probably one of the most underrated products that's ever been available in the carp fishing scene. One of them that most people probably just walk by in the shop because they haven't got a clue what it does. Rather unique though, isn't it?
It is unique. It's a very special product. It's actually a glue, Joe, that never sets, and it can do amazing things with particles. And as you know, particles are a great holding ingredient for keeping the fish in the swim for a long time.
Yep, especially the old hemp. The carp just love it, don't they?
It's got its own way of using it. Bogey, the glue, Bogey will stick to anything which is dry. And if I was to plunge a dry finger into the material, it's going to be stuck. So pull that off for me, please, Joe. There you go. What do you do with Bogey to stop getting stuck? First of all, wet your finger. It won't stick to anything which is wet. And it's a hard rubberized material. And when you take it out, pull it out quickly with a snapping action. The reason I do that is so you've not got long wisps of spider trails sticking over all your clothes, anything else. Once you've got the Bogey on your finger, this is what I do now. I used to advise people to wet the fingers. I don't do that anymore. I'm purposely now going to make it tacky. Not sticky, but just tacky. If you hold that now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not sticking.
Not sticky at all. So we want to stick dry seeds to it. And what we do now is we stretch it, and we're making the inside come out. So all that surface area that had a slight bit of contamination with the natural oil from my fingers, that is a very sticky product because we've released it, we've stretched it, and it becomes stickier. And all we do is simply drop it into the dry seed. And immediately you can see what's happening. It's sticking to it on contact. So let's take it out, dip it into the seed, squeeze the seed onto it, and then simply compress the seed into the bait. And there you've got your hemp seed bait that tiny fish, little fish, can't remove.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, you know, there's not often that carp will actually see a hemp hook bait, and they absolutely love the stuff. So that, somewhere they haven't seen it, is going to be a massive edge, isn't it?
That's right.
And obviously you don't need to make it that big, you can make them nice and small. I know you've got another little trick, in fact, haven't you, that you've been playing around with lately?
That's right. We'll take the same piece of Bogey, and this is what we call party blend. It's a mixture of birdseed. Wet your finger, stick it into the Bogey and snap a piece out quickly. I'm going to do the same thing, Joe, now by making it less sticky. So there we go, it's tacky again. Now what we're going to do now is we want to put this on a bare hook. Not on a hair, just on a bare hook. Because it's just tacky and manageable, I'm going to make myself a worm. Now that worm's not going to catch fish, Joe. But what we're going to do with this worm will catch fish. I've got a long shanked hook here, and I'm going to just place the Bogey towards the end of the hook. I'm going to stretch it, which is releasing its stickiness, and I'm going to whip it along the shank, just like you would with a spade end hook. And when I get to the end, I'm going to snap it off quickly, remove the excess, put that Bogey back in the pot. We're going to drop this into the birdseed mix, and you can see immediately what's happening.
Look at that.
Now, think about Bogey. Once I've made these baits, if I leave them standing for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that will be solid, hard.
And again, that is just an edge in itself, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
You've got a small pile of particles on the hook. It's all as one. You haven't got a hair with the bait coming off it. The fish comes in, they mouth that. There's a nice big hook there. They're going to get nailed, aren't they?
Yeah. And let's say we dropped a portion of this into the swim, all these thousands of seeds. That's going to retain the fish in the swim. And if you're concerned about camouflage, Joe, just pop that into there. Now you see it, now you don't. I can make the baits up, and then instead of fishing with them immediately, I'll soak them in water overnight, because normally we're using cooked hemp to attract the fish. That's releasing all the hemp oil. It's releasing the flavours, the smells, everything that attracts fish. So you'll notice that's as pale as the dried hemp. But when we cook the hemp, it's black and the seeds start to germinate. So here's some that's been kept overnight. One we made earlier.
That's a trick and a half, isn't it? Look at that. Black, got all the little bits coming out of it, little white specks.
That's the bait you've just made. That's been soaked overnight. It's identical to the cooked hemp, and it's germinating as well. One final thing you can do with Bogey, which is absolutely marvellous. Instead of soaking it in water overnight, drop it in flavour, a tub of flavour. The dry seeds will absorb that flavour, and if you leave them overnight, when it comes to using them and the Bogey lands in the water will push that flavour out of the seeds, and you'll get a constant stream of flavour and scent into your swim. Finally, one thing we've not mentioned is that the dry seeds will float simply because they're dry. So when you make that bait up, it will be a pop-up.
So you've got to be cautious of that.
Yes. Now if you want a pop-up, that's great. If you want it to sink, soak them overnight.
Yep.
If you want a permanent pop-up, just what we've done with the hook, where we've wound it around, get a tiny piece of cork or polystyrene, make a worm, wrap it round, then put the Bogey on, permanent pop-up. Job done.
Top tricks.